That's how this game works now. So you guys thinking you can float around and just kind of know stuff, kind of know how defenses work, and your technique's kind of okay, and you think college coaches are coming to find you, you're going to be sitting in that amphitheater watching the stage on signing day. You're not going to be on the stage looking at people in the crowd. You're going to be in the crowd watching other people sign up. First thing that I want to get on here is high school player development. I've obviously done a lot of work in the world of recruiting, high school football recruiting. Half this channel is shared with Gridiron Studs. And so, I have some knowledge in that area. I've gone through the process myself. My two sons went through it, and obviously coaching high school football and running a recruiting service. I get that. Much has changed over the years, but the part and area of which I continue to have extensive knowledge in is how high school defensive backs are recruited and viewed by the college coaches at the next level. And one of the biggest things that I have noticed, and I may have mentioned this on this channel or in previous podcasts, is that seemingly there is better development at the Group of 5 FCS Division II level for defensive backs than there is at the Power 4 level. And there are a number of reasons for that. If anyone out there disagrees, feel free to, disagree in the comment section, but I'm going to be here and tell you otherwise because I have extensive experience with it. I train guys for their pro days and combines every year, and that means guys from all different levels. So I get D2 guys, Division III guys, I get FCS, all groups. And over the last 5 years, it's been a noticeable difference in the skill level and development of the players from the lower levels versus the guys at the Power 4 level. Not necessarily saying they're better players, but over the long run, I have my idea as to who the better players are going to be. What's happening at the Power 4 level is this. College coaches are really going after the height, weight, size, speed guys. All right. They're looking for physical talents at the high school level. So in essence, they're looking for the guys with traits that they can't teach. So a tall corner, a guy that's exceptionally fast, a track guy. They don't feel like they want guys who already have these things because that's what's going to allow them to survive out on the field. They feel like we'll be able to teach them everything else once they get here. We can't teach them to be taller. We don't really feel like we could teach them to be faster, but if we can get that kind of talent on campus, that kind of person will get on the field right away because they won't be mismatched against guys that have been playing for 3-4 years when we go play these other teams. And we'll just teach them what they need to know. That's first and foremost what they're going after. I don't think that's anything that's new. That's kind of always been the case. The big and fast guy has always been highly sought after in college football. What is happening, though, is they're taking less and less high school football players because of the transfer portal. And because of that now, the guys who don't fit into those categories, you're not a 6-foot-plus corner, you're not 190 to 200 pounds. You're not a 4'4", 4'3" guy or a 10'7", 10'5", 100-meter guy. You had better be well developed at the high school level. So that now puts a whole lot of pressure on you guys. You can't just go out there and be raw and think you're going to get looked at by coaches if you are not exceptional physically. Now, my advice to the really young ones, so if you're a parent watching this or you somehow happen to be an 11 or 12-year-old that's really perceptive that can sit down here and watch the Indy Drills podcast, first of all, kudos to you. But for that age group or even younger, my biggest advice to you is develop your athleticism. All right. I know guys in the off season, because I get the calls, you want me to train your 9 and 10-year-old out there. And I've spoken about this. It's not what you need in the off season. What you need in the off season is to develop your athleticism. All of the key inner workings, super detailed defensive back stuff, you can kind of build up to that later on. What you need early on is for that kid to be as fast as possible and have as many skills as possible. By skills, I mean go play something else. Go play basketball. Go play baseball. Go play soccer if you can, which is difficult, because those, football and soccer season runs together. But play another sport, multiple sports if you can. Develop your skill level. Track being the best one, because all you do at defensive back is run. And so you should develop that. Develop your athleticism. Okay. So when you get to high school, that's not a thing that you're trying to catch up on. You don't want to be catching up on athleticism when you get to that high school level, because you're going to run out of time really, really fast. You're going to be behind the eight ball. You might be a highly skilled DB, but you're just not going to measure up athleticism wise. Okay, I'm going to flip it back to this now. You also need to start upping your IQ and then be developed in the terms of your football skills. Now, that sounds counter to what I just said. Build your athleticism, learn about the game. When you get to high school, though, be on point with your technique, your understanding of schematics, and all of those good things. Because if you don't measure up athletically, if you're not 6'1" or 6'2", and you don't have any control over that, or even though you've been working at it, you're not a 10-7 or a 10-500 4-3 guy, what's going to help you get looks and get to that next level is your understanding of the game, understanding of coverages, and your ability to have really good technique. Now, I know some guys are going to be watching this, and you might be in some part of the country where there aren't defensive back trainers or coaches or people that can help you. Maybe your coach at school, your defensive back coach, just has a basic knowledge. He's doing the best that he can. However, if you're in one of those areas, it is in your best interest to gain as much knowledge about the game as possible if you're trying to play at the next level. And if you're watching this, you're already taking that next step. It's why I push this book, 101 DB Tips. It's why I push my members area. Not just to be selling something. It's because I know that this is what guys need. And sometimes, you get all the way down to your senior year and you start to realize it too late. I don't know as much as I need to know. I'm not as technically sound as I need to be. And you're going to try and make up for it in this very short space of amount of time. And you just kind of run out of time. I see it happen every year. As early as you can, you want to try and get down on those things. So college football coaches are looking for developed players. If you're talking about the Power 4 guys, for sure. All right. Now, the groups behind it are starting to get that way as well. Okay. The group of fives are starting to get that way as well. They're not quite there yet, but they're getting a little stuffy too, because they're grabbing from the transfer portal. When the guys go to the bigger schools, the Ohio States and the Texases, and they flame out there, the group of five schools are starting to grab those guys now. So they're getting a little bit stuck up as well and are trying to go to the transfer portal before they go to high school, because all of these coaching staffs are under pressure, and that means they need to win now. And that does not lend itself to grabbing an 17, 18-year-old from high school and getting him out on the field as quickly as possible. They know a lot of times that that's going to be difficult to grab a kid right off of one moment he was in the prom, next moment he's lined up in front of 60,000 people in some kind of rivalry game trying to guard a receiver that might have been in college for 2 or 3 years. If that is going to be the case, if they're going to view you in that light, parents, dads out there, if you're trying to get your kid to the next level, you're trying to get him to the level of elite skills, you've got to use these resources that I have available to you. One is my book, 101 DB Tips. It's the greatest book out there for DBs. Everything on covering man,
playing zone, playing corner, playing safety, how to study film. It's an excellent resource for your young tyke that's trying to become a big-time DB. Also, the All Eyes DB Camp members area is a superpower. Over 200 videos in there on all types of things like how to play coverages, technique, strategy breakdowns, and more. 2 great resources for your young guy if you're trying to get him to the next level. Take advantage of them. Link down in the description below.
You have to be a developed player coming out of high school. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. It'd be nice to have a little bit of leisure or be able to roll into your college career and think, oh, I'm going to have some time to grow and develop. That ship is sailing. I'm not saying it's sailed. It's not all the way gone, but it's definitely pulled away from the dock. All right. And so I know that brings a great deal of amount of anxiety and pressure to parents, players, etc. But it is what it is. So if you're trying to play college football, you have to be developed coming out of high school. That means knowledge of scheme, knowledge of technique, and being able to execute it, and understanding how offenses attack so that they feel comfortable enough bringing you on. All right. And in a lot of cases, freshmen need to get out on that field, that if they're putting you out there and you're not 6'1" or 10'5", you have enough knowledge of scheme, you understand how the offenses attack, and you have good enough technique to go out there and play and be a factor in games. If you don't have that, you don't have that physical part, meaning the elite part. I'm not saying, you're not going to get to college if you just are not, you don't have any physical skills at all. You got to have a certain amount of physical skills. So you at least meet those minimum requirements to be a college football player. But if you're out there and you're on the lower end of the physical part, and then you can't combine it with the development mentally and technique wise for the game, they just can't bring you on. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but college football coaches are getting axed and fired left and right. James Franklin at Penn State, Brian Kelly at LSU, Billy Napier at Florida. Every time you turn around, another guy is getting axed. They just are feeling so much pressure. They have to win almost right away. A college coach gets about 2 years, maybe 3, to pull it all together. They're not winning within 3 years, they're out of there. If they win early on and then they follow up the next 2 years with bad seasons, they're out of there and they're gone. So with that amount of pressure, that pressure trickles down, okay? Pressure from that coach's feeling is going to trickle down to the players. And so they can't just bring guys on and wait around for them to develop. Oh, they'll get on their junior year. In my day, a freshman would get redshirted, most likely. Then he is, if he's good, he's playing on special teams, his redshirt freshman year, then he's getting bits and pieces of action his sophomore year. Then his junior year is when he really glows up and he goes out there and he's a full-time starter. That is not the timetable anymore. You coming in here as a freshman, you're on that field, okay? If you're going Power 4, you're on that field at Ole Miss, at Death Valley, playing against LSU. You're out there, 18 years old, in front of 90-something thousand screaming fans. You're on that field during a crucial drive. I'm not talking about if you're getting blown out or if you're blowing the other team out, you're out there. No, you're in there in a crucial moment. And how do you think that happens? That doesn't happen if you have limited knowledge of scheme and your technique is okay, it's still developing. No, that's not how that works. Now, they might throw a big guy out there with some speed and just think, okay, through that, he'll just, make a play here or there. If you're not that guy physically, you better be on that. I hope I've made that clear. That's how this game works now. So you guys thinking you can float around and just kind of know stuff, kind of know how defenses work, and your technique's kind of okay, and you think college coaches are coming to find you, you're going to be sitting in that amphitheater watching the stage on signing day. You're not going to be on the stage looking at people in the crowd. You're going to be in the crowd watching other people sign up their scholarships on signing day. That's just how that works. And I hope you are getting the message. You need to be developed. It's how guys like me have been able to grow in this business. College coaches don't really have time to be teaching like the ins and outs anymore. They're teaching you their scheme. Everyone has their scheme. And they need the players to know it inside and out. A good amount of the individual time is spent teaching scheme. I'm suspecting a lot of that's happening in high school as well. So, it starts to get difficult for high school coaches to do that. I will say this, if you're a high school coach watching this, please refrain from doing that. If you got to limit your scheme a little bit to spend more time teaching guys tools like back pedals, hip flips, how to press, how to guard the deep ball, give them as many tools as you can while they're in high school so that they can survive and play well at the next level. Too many times guys are coming out of high school and they just totally understand the scheme that you ran in high school, but they don't have the skills to play anything when they get there. They barely have the skills to play in your scheme. You spend so much time teaching them the scheme so they'll know who they've got if two guys switch, or what zone they're supposed to be in, or what check needs to be made. They've spent all their time doing that, so they're just really good on your scheme. What happens when they go to college and there's another scheme? So they've got to learn that scheme at the college if it's different than yours, and it probably will be. Then they also don't have the tools. They don't have the tools. So spend some more time teaching them those tools. It will pay off down the road. You know what? Also, kind of limiting your scheme a little bit, and I hate to use that word, but limiting your scheme, cutting it down some, might actually make them better players for you on Friday nights. They might actually move faster because they're not so bombarded with all of these scheme checks and all of the different ins and outs that you're doing. I get it. You go to the college clinics in the off season and the college coaches are teaching you what they do at their college. They're at college. They have more time with their players, and they're coaching and teaching more mature players. You are in high school. Some of these guys don't even know the basics when they come to you, and you guys are already on page 30. They don't even know the basics. Understand that in high school, you're getting a kid that might have been a running back all his life. Or you might get a kid that has never played football before. He's coming out to you for the first time in playing football as a sophomore, and he never has before. He just watched it on TV or he played Madden. And here you are skipping ahead to teach him stubby or, something you saw from the Vic Fangio family of coverages. I get it. There's a ton of information that's available out there to you. And so you want to implement all of this stuff. I've been there. I've been a coach, and I've definitely thrown too much on players before. I have definitely done that. And I'm telling you, dial back some of it, slide a little bit more to technique, teach those guys how to backpedal. Stop saying, oh, it's too hard to teach them how to backpedal. No, it's not. It's hard because you want to hurry up and teach them all the ins and outs of your quarter scheme. And you just don't want to spend that much time teaching a guy how to backpedal and, learn how to flip his hips and how to weave. Well, guess what? That guy's going to be in your quarter system. Your safety is going to be lined up on that hash, and a slot wide receiver is going to come blazing at him. And because you didn't have enough time to teach him how to backpedal, he's going to open his hips too fast, and that slot's going to just break to his back and run away from him. 60, 70-yard touchdown. Was that scheme? I mean, he knew he was supposed to cover that guy one-on-one. He knew that. He just didn't have the tools to do it. All right. So, I've kind of slid over on my high school coaches now, but please dial back some of it. Teach them a little bit of skill. I mean, it's not that hard. Give them a chance to survive at the next level. But the bottom line here, the overarching theme of this segment is I want high school players and the parents of high school players to understand that it is no longer okay to kind of know scheme, kind of have technique, and kind of understand how offenses attack and think your kid's going to go to college and get a scholarship. He better be a monster physically. If he's not going. It's going to be a fight. He's going to be trying to go to a junior college or some prep school, and you're going to have to go through that whole thing. It's going to have to go that whole route. It's a long way to go. He needs to be developed, and that's why I push these resources. It's why I push the books. It's why I push the members area. It's why I make these videos on YouTube. And I'm here to tell you, in the beginning, these YouTube videos are enough. As you go down the road, you need more. Okay, you need more. And that's why I offer these other resources. You guys should probably jump on that.